just going to change Marine Lord's name to PtitDrogo. I'm going to be off and away into our first match of the day in Group D of the Neo Star League International 2016. Let's go in game and let's introduce our players in just a moment after the names have been fixed. Should be good. I think we're good to go. Alright, let's do this then. So, to kick us off, to the bottom right hand side of the map, our red Protoss player representing my insanity. Let's see it, guys, if you're going to be cheering on. PtitDrogo.
Game paused.
Every day, every single time, I swear down, the Chinese players are have to pause right at the start of the game. Every single time. It's crazy. Okay, so let's hopefully get this sorted out in a moment too. We'll go for the intros. We'll just go from the top again, I guess. We'll just start all over. Makes it nice on the VOD, makes it more coherent. As TooDming just fixes his hotkey. And again, hopefully get that fixed. Get going here. Nice and swiftly. How's everyone doing today? I know Star League is on, obviously. The proper Star League. I know that's on, so let me know what's up. Let me know how everyone's doing if you are around. But I know it'll be a little bit quiet in here compared to the last few days. First match in Star League is, well, pretty lengthy. So we might actually be competing with Star League all day long. That's one of the issues with kind of this earlier start time of the stream, that we do end up competing with the Korean leagues a little bit, you know, for a little bit longer. Like the other day we competed with the Limo League, we have Star League today. Hopefully we get some broadcast today where we don't overlap with Star League, because it's a fantastic group and it'd be a shame if more people didn't see it. As we jump on into game number 1, let's introduce our players then. To kick us off, down to the bottom right hand side, our red Protoss player. Let's see it, guys, if you're going to be cheering on PtitDrogo. And to the top left, our blue Zerg. It is going to be TooDming. As we set up into your game number 1 of this best of 3, Frozen Temple, the map where you expect to see Twilight Council, the map where you expect to be seeing some sort of Resonant Enclaves play in the fairly early stages of the game. Not on one base, of course, but after you get up to 2 bases. That's generally what you expect to see out of the Protoss player. However, we have been seeing players mix it up. Parting, for example, the other day went for a Phoenix opening on this map, which of course was fairly interesting. Plays out a little bit differently. We'll see that cybernetics core coming down as well. Overlord coming down towards the bottom right hand side here from TooDming, of course. He's just setting up with his early scout. And for him so far, it's been that hatch gas pool play, setting up into a very standard opening. Nothing really kind of too wacky, nothing really too out there. Hatch gas pool will get that link speeder rolling, and we'll just sort of go from that point. He's also going to be taking that third hatchery as well, so again, just nice standard macro-based opening from TooDming. He's not messing around early on in this, and Drogo comes across the map, he sees hatch gas pool, and that's all he's going to stick around to see. Doesn't bother waiting around with that probe to check for third base or anything, just comes back in towards his main, and is just going to start, well, getting ready to go. I mean, his cyber core just finished, so Mothership core, First Adept, Warp Gate, those are the sort of things he'll start getting out right now. And then you'll start moving in towards that first sort of real tech of the game, whether it's going to be the Twilight Council, whether he does something a bit different like a Stargate. In fact, there we go, Twilight Council on the way. Very fast Twilight Council, skips the Mothership core to put this down about, 20 seconds or so earlier. And that's a little bit interesting, so I wonder how that turns out exactly here for Drogo. I wonder if he, instead of going Resonant Enclaves, he goes for Dark Shrine very early on in this. Remember, these matches are only best of 3 though, and in these best of 3s, every single game is important, because every game you win is money. If you win 2-0, you get the entire of the prize pool that's on the line for this match, which is $1,400. If you win 2-1, it gets split between you and opponent, 800, 400 or so, 2-to-1 ratio. So every single map is important, because winning 2-0, I mean, taking one map is worth $400, winning a second map, winning 2-0, 2 in a row, is worth $1,400. And of course, then winning 2-1 not only gets you further in the group, but also it gives you $800 as well. So every single match is important, and every single map in each match is very important. I actually really do love this format. It really is a great format when you've got kind of a larger prize pool to give out to the players. I feel it works very well. The only issue I have with it, and this was brought up elsewhere also, is the fact that oftentimes you sort of look at it and you're like, well, actually, the player who comes through the decider match makes more money in the group stage than the player who won the group, which doesn't really make any sense. So maybe there should be like a bonus for winning the group, or there's something that people suggested, or maybe they should have less money on the line for the decider match. Just because, I mean, there's that thing where you can make more money by losing your first match and going into the loser's match because you get to play more games, as 2 Adepts do get caught out on the map, and that's kind of the big deal because Drogo is building into Resonating Glaives. Yeah, he cleaned up those Zerglings, but the thing with Adepts is 2 Adepts against a handful of Lings don't trade very well. 8 Adepts against a handful, against a big group of Lings trade extremely well. So Drogo, instead of having 6 Adepts moving across the map now, only has 4, and that makes this so much more engageable by this big group of Zerglings, and I think he's going to come out into the center, he's going to go and grab these, he's going to come in, wrap around immediately, and Drogo, I mean, he already lost his first 2, and this is just kind of a consequence of that. Lost his first 2, moves onto the map with the next 4, and now he's lost 6 Adepts. And you can just see, I mean, resources lost is very kind of TooDming favored. 16 Lings for 6 Adepts is definitely worthwhile, because these Adepts, these Zerglings are still looking for a way to get further damage done. They're not going to find it, though, unfortunately. As we're going to see those Lings just backing away up the right-hand side. So we're going to see a Spore Crawler coming down on the 3rd base. I mean, he's setting up just in case there's going to be a Dark Shrine follow-up. There's always a possibility you've got to be aware of whenever there's a Twilight Council on the map. In any matchup, in any build order, generally, if there's a Twilight on the map, there's always a possibility, there's always a variant of the build which goes into Dark Templar. That can go into Dark Temple, to change things up. So you've got to be very cautious of that. So getting invested into the Spore Crawlers early is definitely going to be worthwhile for him. Now we do have 9 Adepts moving across the map, and actually TooDming is still somewhat unprepared for this, despite kind of delaying this for so long, despite cleaning up the first Adept so well. He's got a Bane Nest only halfway done, he's got 20 more Lings about to pop out here, and those Adepts are already moving towards the 3rd base. They will cancel here and just fight in this location as the Zerglings start to come in. Not all of them here just yet, there they go. 2 Queens have already gone down, the Zerglings do now get a full surround, they're starting to take this down. But this was a bit of a better trade than from Drogo this time around. He loses 5 more Adepts, but he definitely does a lot more damage this time. For 5 Adepts, he kills off an extra 24 Lings, 2 Queens. That's better than 6 Adepts for 14 Lings, or whatever it was previously. So it's going a little bit better already right now from Drogo after that. As we're going to see these Lings again counterattacking, looking for an opportunity, doesn't find it. And so for the most part should back away. He might want to try and force some force fields out. The less force fields that are here for PtitDrogo, the better this is going to be for TooDming, who is playing that Hydra Baneling composition. He's going into the Baneling Nest, he's got that Centrifugal Hooks on the way, +1 melee attacks, he'll follow this up with a +1 missile attack most likely. And obviously the Hydra's on the way out as well, so going into Hydra Baneling is something we saw a lot way back when. It became kind of a big sort of thing in the metagame a few months ago, but it did fade out because Protoss players realized how good Sentries can be, Protoss players realized how good Blink Stalkers can be, and this sort of Baneling-based composition has just sort of died away. We still see them sometimes early in the game to kind of deal with the Adepts. The players are generally moving much more kind of, putting much more focus onto, well, non-Baneling compositions such as Roaches early on, and so on and so on. You can see 9 Banelings morphing in here as Drogo is already looking to be very aggressive. He walked in a lot of sentries here. He's got a lot of Adepts now warping in as well behind this as he added on a lot of gateways. He's up to, I believe, 9 gateways in total. So he's got 9 warp gates, and well, here we go. It's a good concave initially, which is important. He needs to try and force as many force fields as possible. The more force fields that get used now, the less there's going to be later on. And you can actually see those sentries are starting to fall, and there's just so many Hydras here. TooDming is starting to close this down, and we're going to see that Warp Prism also being chased away. Does not get killed, but does get stopped from building, from opening more units. Now Stalker's warping across the map. Probe will build some pylons towards the top of his ramp. Ling's going to run forwards here, going to come in and look to see what they can get up to. Surrounding that pylon, trying to surround that pylon. Overcharge does come down. I mean, you can see that Drogo is in full-on panic mode right now. Banelin's already moving forwards as the Warp Prism falls. That's not the biggest of issues here currently. He has warping pylons towards the back, which he can use instead. I think the bigger issue is the fact that he really just doesn't have that many units. You're going to be seeing, I mean, another overcharge goes in at the back, some more Adepts warping in, and those Balins at the front. I mean, the thing is, there's no sentries to block those Balins from connecting with the Adepts anymore, so it's going to be all down to the splits. That's Drogo's busy splitting. There's going to be plenty of Hydras here to dish out the damage, and TooDming really just has too much. Drogo floating some money right now as well, as we see them Hydras continuing to advance forwards. He's going to start getting rid of a bunch of these units. I mean, that's just going to be GG right there. TooDming takes game 1. And how this will turn out as to the bottom left-hand side of New Gettysburg for our second map here. It is going to be our Blue Zerg player representing Zenith of Origin. It is TooDming. Into the bottom right, our red Protoss player from the Insanity. Down a game, can he pull it back? It is going to be PtitDrogo. Now remember guys, there is a big benefit to finishing first place in your group in comparison to finishing in second place. I mean, obviously we mentioned this sort of issue that second place might have a chance to get more money, but that's actually not true if you lose so too. But anyways, first place of this group will go up against Time. Now Time is very good. He took down Marine Lord yesterday in the TVT, but he got absolutely stomped by Snoot. So I would imagine you would probably prefer to play Time than you would play Snoot in that playoff bracket, right? You know, that makes a lot of sense if you ask me. So, in my eyes, I think a lot of players would prefer to play Time instead of Snoot. And so finishing first place will give you Time in the bracket rather than Snoot. And that is something which I think everyone will want to be fighting for here today. It actually makes these first matches a lot more important, because you know who you're going to be playing against, and you know for a fact, I think that Snoot's going to be the scarier opponent in a best of 5 series. And I was going to see, well, 2 hatches on the way up here early. TooDming is going to go for that free hatch before pool opening. He's going to play a little bit greedier here on the map, which is designed in a lot of ways for greed and big macro plays. But look at this, interestingly enough from Drogo, he's opening up with the double gateway before expand, so he's going to put on a lot of pressure, and he's going to utilize this lower side of the map, this lower attack path, to try and get some damage done to the Zerg player early on. Now if TooDming spots this, there is ways he can deal with it and delay those adepts. He can, it's not going to be cheap, but he could maybe hatchery block over here, for example. That's something which he could, which could be very annoying. There's actually quite a few possibilities, so let's see how this is going to go. We're going to see Zobel comes in, he sees a double gateway now, and now he knows exactly what he's up against. So TooDming sees 2 gates, adepts are on the way, Drogo looking to put on a lot of pressure with this, as we do see the probe starting to move over to the right hand side. So probe coming over to the right hand side here from PtitDrogo, going to be coming in towards the base and just having a little bit of a look to see if he can get a job back mining once again. Looks like he's going to return those minerals and then get down to the natural expansion to throw that down. As we're going to see 2 adepts starting to shade across the map and 2 more adepts on the way. So obviously the idea of this is the opponent's not going to have, you know, Zergling speed for a while. You know, TooDming is not going to have much at all for a while. And actually we're going to see the Stargate follow up to this. As Drogo starts to send those adepts back, then actually pulls them back forwards. I wonder if that's a mistake on the shade. There is the hatchery to block this off, and I like that. I think it's probably the better way to deal with this. Rather than having to overmake units with this, yes, it costs 300 minerals, but 300 minerals is a lot cheaper than multiple Zerglings which cut into your drone count super early on. And so we're going to be seeing this hatchery continue to take some damage here. So hatchery continue to take some damage. We'll see a couple of adepts coming across the top side of the map. They're going to go in towards the third base now in the next few moments. So they're going to come in towards the third base here and again see what they can do. Maybe try and get themselves a lava kill or so. We'll see those 2 adepts going into the natural once again. Just going to cancel that. Still these 2 adepts here, we're working their way through this hatchery. As we're going to be seeing the Queen continue to target down those adepts. Just continue to see what's going on. Those adepts just pulling back a little bit right now. Oracle is on the way up. So Oracle on the way up right here. Let's see what's going to happen as we're going to be seeing 2 more adepts moving all the way back over to the right hand side of the map. I mean, this hatchery is going to be allowed to finish. Again, I think it's worth the 300 mineral investment, because you think about it at this point, you'd probably expect TooDming to have made so many lings that you'd be down by 3 or 4 workers. That's generally the point of this. But instead, he's going to be ahead on workers going into it. Drogo's oversaturated on his main base because his natural is only just finishing. And so TooDming actually defends this very well. This hatchery and the scout and the response, I think it's very nice. And oh, I love this as well. He actually comes around the right-hand side. This is kind of nice and not nice at the same time, because he's going to come in. He's going to try and attack those couple of adepts, but at the same time, there's going to be an Oracle here, and there's no way out for these lings as well if the rest of the adepts come across here. And Drogo's going to start setting them up as a little bit of a wall, so now those lings are trapped. So it was a nice little idea, but now it's not going to turn out too well for him. As we're going to see TooDming will take advantage of what he can. He's going to just come in and try and get rid of a couple of adepts, and he will get 2. And that'll be all he gets, that Oracle helping out in the skies as well, although of course, Oracle killing off lings here is much better than an Oracle killing off workers. I'm just going to be seeing those adepts just backing away. Obviously no resonating glaives with this. It's a Stargate opening, so you don't expect to see resonating glaives, but it's going to be the oracles instead. Now if we see these adepts come in, get rid of a spore crawler and queens quickly on a base, all of a sudden these oracles are going to completely destroy everything else. I mean, actually, if the adepts can get rid of a spore, then the queens go down very quickly as well to the oracles. So It's a cool little timing here, and let's see how well TooDming is going to be able to hold this off. He has got 5 queens. Does he have them all in the right place? Well, he's starting to pull them over here. No creep spread between the third base and the natural. Will be a bit of an issue to begin with as the Lings start to come in. They wrap around those Adepts. The Queens are target down the Oracles, which is important here. Has to get rid of that anti-air, that Air Force. As you do see the Adepts shading on through into the natural expansion. A few more Lings come in. A lot of them Adepts are low, so a lot of them will start to go down very quickly here when Drogo actually manages to close the gap, which is right now, more or less. He gets rid of 2. He still just doesn't have quite enough Zerglings in position to deal with the rest of them. They're coming back in over here, though, but now the Queens are here, and again, they're low, so the Queens, while they don't do a lot of damage every shot, they will kind of get rid of these fairly swiftly as the drones can probably pull back in a moment or two. They don't want to go too far away because that Oracle's going to start chasing. Oracle coming back in, but he has to pull it back once again. And for the most part, I'd say that this was actually probably not the best from Drogo. 4 workers killed at the cost of an Oracle and 8 Adepts. He also got 52 Lings. It was pretty, I guess in the end it was fairly even in terms of a trade. I don't think it really kind of gives preference to one player or the other. As Drogo adds on 3 more gates, going to go immediately into Blinky as a follow-up after his Twilight Council finishes. So sets up into that. We do see a Spire on the way down for TooDming, so maybe looking to play some aggressive sort of Mutalisk-based strategy here, which might be looking to try and catch PtitDrogo off guard, but it's just not going to. As you see those Zerglings starting to back away. So then Lisa's backing away towards the center once more. We're going to be seeing a Robo facility coming down on the third base, so a Robo coming down, a couple of assimilators being added on as well, and a couple of Depths 3 sentries just going to be sitting towards the front. So a couple of Depths 3 sentries sitting towards the front, and again those 2 Oracles still looking to see what they might be able to get up to. As we're going to see that 4th hatchery now on the way as well. So 4th hatch on the way up. Let's see 2 Oracles coming in over there. I mean, they'll spot the 4th hatch. That's something these Oracles are always going to be very good at in this game. They're always going to be very good at spotting kind of, you know, exactly what's going on. They're going to be very good at kind of identifying, okay, well actually, I'm really good at scouting. I see you're going for this sort of tech structure. You know, the only problem is these, well, he has actually been in the main base. I think that's a hallucinated Phoenix which spots the Spire. But doesn't he recognize it's a Spire? Because he hasn't actually responded to it just yet, unless his plan is just to go for a big counterattack as Mutalisks come out. I mean, TooDming, his Spire is finished, but he's not actually making Mutas right now, so I feel as though he's seen it's been scouted, so he isn't going to respond to it. I mean, Drogo going to come in here once again with another hallucinated Phoenix, sees that Spire, sees it as an upgrading, which is something to take note of, and that might be a reason for him to still not make any more units. He's actually begins to push across the map right now, so he's going to push across aggressively here. And you'll see a Zergling going down very swiftly as units continue to go across over to the left-hand side, so Stalkers, Sentries, a couple of Adepts join up with this Oracle. I'm going to see that Warp Prism coming in for more Stalkers. Blinking +1 is finished, so it's sort of very similar to the Swarm attack, so only instead of +2 Blink, it's +1 Blink. And we're going to see how well this does. These Queens transfuse each other, realizing they're not going to get too much else done. It's going to leave Ravager Force here for TooDming. Some more Force Fields coming down. I'm not sure if I like this, though. I mean, that's a lot of Force Fields already used just to catch a very low number of Zerglings. I feel as though when you look at this army from TooDming, if it can get us around, it's going to have the time of his life, and I feel as though the number of sentries with force fields left over definitely promotes that he might get us around here. We're going to see them Lings coming in from the right-hand side, and here we go at the same time. Starting to come up this ramp. Force fields will come down, try and help against the Ravagers, but the Lings do get a full surround here. Sentries are going to be in a lot of trouble as the Stalkers blink backwards almost straight away. Oh, we're going to see a big warp in here out of our Pros players. He's going to lose the Warp Prism, so he loses the warp in of Adepts, and that means he's got even less to fight against these Zerglings now. TooDming taking advantage, moving across the map. Losing that warp in of Zealots or Depth, whatever it was he wanted to go for there, is a huge mistake. And look at this, Drogo drops the second Stargate in a Fleet Peak, and he thinks right now that the Muta transition is going to come up, and it is going to come up. It's a good prediction from him, but I think he's got other issues right now. He's got Zealots warped in. These Zerglings are still going to look to be aggressive as these Ravagers continue to come across towards this bottom right-hand side. And I mean, he's got Ravagers here. Those Zealots don't have charge yet, so these Ravagers can just kite for days against those. There's going to be seeing maybe a couple of Biles onto a Oracle there, dodges out of the way almost immediately. And TooDming not going to push into the free base, is not going to overcommit. He's waiting for his Mutas to come up. He's waiting for his transition to come in the near future. Oracle still overhead as those Lings and Ravagers going to be looking to head over towards the right-hand side. A couple of drones for TooDming getting caught up in the army. A little bit of a mistake as the Mutas, well, they're going to head towards the main base. Again, they're not going to do much with 2 Stargate Phoenix. That being said, there is only a couple of Phoenix out right now. So these Mutas, well, they can just join up with the army and kind of add a little bit to that, I guess, instead. I mean, right now we see PtitDrogo still warping in Zealots, and that's my issue, because as we see Banelings get added into this, TooDming has an answer to this en masse Zealot play that we're starting to see here. As we're going to be seeing these Stalkers just getting up a Zergling there, and well, the Muta's going to start being under attack from the Phoenix. Here we go, Ling's going to run in, there's a couple of sentries here, and he's only going to need 2 forces to stop those Banelings. There's a little gap there, but it's being taken up by Zealots, Zerglings right now, as we see the first Banelings do begin to cut in forwards, they do connect. We will see TooDming just backing away from this here. So Phoenix going to pick up the Ravager, as we're going to see a few Corruptors on the way as well. I find that very interesting because I don't necessarily feel as though he's got enough to kind of really fight against the Ravagers. I don't know why TooDming didn't try and Corrosive Bile a little bit earlier. Drogo's going to start chasing this away though, so TooDming has to go into something a little bit more careful here. 4 Corruptors on the way out to help with the Phoenix count that's starting to build here as well. I'm just going to be seeing these Zealots. Again, they have to be very careful. Yes, they've got charge now, but on their own, they're still going to go down very quickly. And that's a bunch of Zealots that PtitDrogo's just left out in the center of the map. A mistake from him, he loses 6 Zealots for nothing. And that actually, once again, opens up this army to attack. We see the units coming in for the surround. The Mothership Core might just have to recall here to get back away. We're going to see an Immortal going down as well. I mean, the Stalkers blink away. As we see the Corruptors coming in now too. A few Roaches and Ravagers still on the ground. They need to be careful because, again, they don't really want to end up overcommitting here. Corrosive Bile will help to pick off the Mothership Core in the end, as the Corruptors and the Phoenix do back off here eventually. You see, it's 48 more Lings being made once again. TooDming, so with this very swarmy style, he's up to 5 bases behind all of this as Drogo begins to establish a 4th. And we're just going to be seeing the units gathering together once more now from Drogo, pulling back to his own side of the map, looking to just sit defensively for a few extra moments here as we see those Lings, Roaches, Banes. They're starting to open up these rocks, opening up extra attack paths onto the map. We're going to see these Phoenix actually going on a bit of an overload hunt, which could be very annoying for TooDming to deal with if he starts getting supply blocked here. So that's something which could be frustrating, but of course now those Phoenix are out of position for the fight. And then again, if they do come into the fight, plenty of Corruptors here this time around as, again, Ling, Roach, Bane. I mean, there's not even that many Roaches now. It's more or less just Ling, Bane. Stasis Ward goes off on not too much as, again, the Corruptors will come forwards here. There's the phone overcharge coming down. The Corruptors will turn to fight the Phoenix in the back as the Lings continue to come forwards. There's just nothing to tank Zerglings. There's a few Zealots moving into the left side. The Banes will pull away to deal with those. And the Immortal to the right-hand side here with these Stalkers, again, is not very good against the Ling count. And, well, if nothing else, TooDming will take down the 4th base here, also extending himself to a 60 supply lead overall. He really takes, once again, another step forward in this game. As we're going to be seeing those Lings moving around once again. Phoenix going to be coming around once more. We're going to be seeing the Corruptors trying to get a little bit of damage done. These Lings going to come in once again here. You're going to start trying to surround these sentries. Sentries taking quite a lot of damage, and I think this might just be it. I think Drogo might have to tap out of game number 2. GG. And that is